So basically, at that time, I was too when they did the brain savant test, I was just too busy just thinking about these people and the fact that I knew deep down inside that all these people were all over money, and that was the only reason they were coming after me. If my brain savant were to get freed, the same person, me, whom they're claiming to be a nuisance to society and aggressive and all these things only because all their fabricated false testimonies have gotten caught, would be the same exact person that they'd be running after to marry their daughter. Even though common sense dictates that if a person's aggressive people like take revenge, and they're really like aggressive, they're really bad, and I have no history of any such thing, first of all. And second thing is just the fact that, if you're running after someone to marry your daughter so desperately, you definitely don't think of them as being aggressive, now do you? I mean, yeah, that much is common sense, or else, yeah. But these people are not running after to get me married to their daughter, since it is basically a Ponzi scheme. They know I'm not going to marry their daughter. No one marries their enemy, or their enemy's daughters. I mean, for the greedy famer fabricated how many false testimonies against me? Numerous ones, only to enviously lock up my brain savant because she knew I wasn't interested in their ugly looking abnormal daughters, and she just wanted my brain savant locked up so I couldn't like marry anyone else's, only due to extreme envy. And if I were to show you the kind of pictures that she sends me of her daughters, you would be shocked that the woman that dresses up like a nun sends someone these pictures on July 15, 8:51 a.m. Like, this is like insane. Like, you would send this to someone after dressing up literally like a nun is insane. I mean, if you just look at what the girl in the gray is wearing on top, or the girl in the blue is wearing on the bottom, you would kind of think that this woman, if she wasn't dressing up like a nun, if she wasn't narrating in a trial against me, and then she found out about the June 24th test results coming out saying that I am Kim Peek Rain Man, along with innovation and focusing, and that my powers increase over time, then she'd be sending me nudes for her daughter, obviously. That much is a known fact. If she wasn't dressed up like a nun, if she wasn't narrating in the trial saying that I'm an aggressive person, if she wasn't doing all of these things, then obviously she'd be sending me nudes for her daughter. That much is for sure, without a doubt. I knew for a fact that when the first brain savant test was done before May 10th, that at that time I was just so tired because of the fact that I knew that I knew that these people were all just fighting over money. Whether it was for the greedy famer, she would run after me the moment she would think my brain savant was freed. I knew it, I couldn't prove it. Miss Deb, I knew for a fact the moment she would find out that my brain savant was freed, she would run after me for her daughter. I knew it, but I couldn't prove it. Yeah, all of them. Ibrahim, the greedy famer, he would run after me for his sister. I knew it, I just couldn't prove it. I was just sick and tired of it. Fighting against these people. They were claiming one thing, but the reason was totally different. The motive for why they were fighting against me in court was totally different. It was due to extreme envy. When you find out that someone has these superhuman powers that I never told anyone about. Miss Deb is a prime example of that. Miss Deb was told June 2023. The first time I ever told, even whispered into anyone's ears, was after August 25th, 2023, meaning that Miss Deb was told by law enforcement, and that's why I knew that they had a brain scanner. How else would I know? Yeah, so basically, yeah, that is what happened. And I knew for a fact that when they were like testing my brain savant, even before May 10th, 2026, I knew that they were fighting over money and nothing else, but I just couldn't prove it at that time. Now, after June 19th, 2026, recently, I think it was June 16th, 2026, both Miss Deb and Farah, the greedy family, started running after me for their daughters due to greed and no other reason. So that's when I proved it. But at that time, early before even May 10th, these people are arguing against me in court and saying that I'm a really aggressive person when I have no history of any such thing. I'm autistic. Since I was a 9-year-old child, all I would do is stare into the History Channel logo from morning till night. My mother would turn off the TV at night, and I would just go to sleep and wake up the next day and just do the exact same thing. I can't stop smiling to help save my life. In reality, the only reason I'm not right now is because they're using all kinds of drugs on me, and my face doesn't even look like how it is supposed to look like. They were trying to find pictures of me where I would look different and not autistic, only to try to prove that I'm not autistic or that I don't look like this. Well, that is true. I do not look like this, but it was too little, too late. They weren't supposed to gamble, and they gambled. Right, neither one of us were gambling. When I was all very eager to do the brain savant test, going over to Moscow, Russia, after they were running their mouths, I wasn't gambling when I went there. I'm not that stupid enough to gamble over my life like that. They when they weren't doing the brain savant test, they weren't gambling. Artificial intelligence, in the less than a minute long test that they did on November 14th, told them that this guy is Kim Peek Rain Man. If you do the 30-minute test with him, he will run you over all up and down the hill. He will definitely win. And we know this for a fact because on December 10th, when the results for November 14th came out, they had a girl that was stalking me, and she hit the back of my car so hard I ended up in the emergency room. Yeah, true story. So neither one of us was gambling. We both knew what the truth was, and we were just showing that. The time when they did gamble, though, was right now, recently. What happened was Junaid was getting rejected by these girls each and every single day, and they were really desperate to gain power over these girls again, that I have nothing to do with. You know, he made up all these stories about himself being a CEO, and then when the girls found out through someone else, he got really scared. He panicked that these girls would stop sleeping with him. So then he quickly called them himself, and he told them all the truth. That he gets paid the same amount my sister does. He does the same job my sister does. He is not a CEO, never was, and that he loses his job every year, and that he he's been trying to get early retirement every single year, and that this year he's supposed to get it. So it's stuff like that. He just told the girls himself out of fear that they would stop sleeping with him, and he was scared that he was basically scared that they would stop sleeping with him, and yeah, and that and the person who told the girls that he wasn't a CEO would tell them the entire truth. So that's why he went and told them the entire truth himself before the other person could, due to which now the girls know what the truth is, and they heard it from his own mouth. So now he gets rejected by the girls, and they thought that it was because of me that he's been getting rejected, when in fact he told them all the entire truth after they found out about him not being a CEO. So their law enforcement was really desperate. June 24th came out, June 24th from last month, the Brain Savant test result came out, and they got a little greedy. They're like, all right, we have no choice. We got to gamble over this. Don't worry about what artificial intelligence said. The fact of the matter is we're not getting anything right now anyways. So it could only be a win-win for us anyways. Even if the artificial intelligence we overanalyze June 24th from last month, artificial intelligence says he's definitely Kim Peek Rain Man. Don't do a 30-minute test with them. Whatever artificial intelligence says, we have to do it right now because we're getting rejected by these girls, and we have no other option right now. So they overanalyzed June 24th. Now they gambled. Not a really smart idea, but they gambled, and they got the results, and you know what that is. Like July 18, I got a request from Ibrahim, the Greedy Framer spokesperson, him asking law enforcement if I was interested in marrying his sister or not. I knew what the story was. They gambled, and they overanalyzed June 24th. So yeah, so when there was a test that was done before May 10th for my Brain Savant, and at that time I wasn't paying attention. When the results came out, Kelly from law enforcement, being a gold digger that she is, put up the thing about a Utah man who invented something for the flywheel, and that and then she asked me if I could ask her to marry me. Yeah, obviously. Yeah, so that was the first time she kept running. Well, even before then, but like it's just, you know, like every single time a Brain Savant test result comes out is when she would come running after me like crazy. And right now it's been craziness since June 7th, when the May 10th Brain Savant test result came out. She's been running after me like crazy. Yeah, she would do things like she would after June 7th, she would touch my tongue and then make my rectum feel wet, and then she would do things like she would like this one morning, really dirty. You don't want to know. Yeah, not appropriate for a courtroom. Yeah, yeah. So you get it. You get the point. Okay. I don't have to explain it in detail. But yeah, she's basically just a gold digger, and she's just running after me, and I'm sick and tired of this. And I need this to stop. So let me just give you some of the stuff from just yesterday, so you can look over it. Like this has to stop. The government has to stop this. This is no place to be finding a husband for yourself. Okay. Yeah, a workplace, especially this kind of workplace, is not a place for you to be finding a husband for yourself. She puts up like all these ads for these drinks where there's a girl chugging on a drink really, really hard to try to say that she's thirsty. In reality, there's not one girl out of all of them that are really like sitting around sexually frustrated. Every single one of them want a husband whom they think that could provide for them. And Kelly thinks that she's ahead of the game because she works in law enforcement. She always gets the results first. So basically June 7th, when the results for the May 10th Brain Savant results came out, Kelly started stroking my penis on the night of June 7th, literally 10 minutes after the artificial intelligence report comes out, thinking that she's the first person who gets the report, so she should run after me first. The government has to put a stop to this. This is no place to be finding a husband for yourself. Yeah. So this is what? This is July 23rd. This is yesterday. So there you go. Okay. Booking.com. This is basically a hotel ad for, and then right with it, it was with that ad, it was the same gutter guard ad that we've already talked about. We know exactly what this ad basically means. Okay. So basically, some of the previous ones are very dirty. Okay, very dirty. This is July 22nd, and look at that picture where the girl is basically with the cake. She used it on my birthday as well. Okay, yeah. This is also July 22nd, 2 days ago, at 7:04 a.m., and this is supposed to be a very dirty ad. And I will show you exactly what I mean. The decorators is what it says. And just look at how they spell decorators on there. It's supposed to be a really dirty ad. Yeah. This is all she does all day long. It annoys me. All right, so this is from yesterday, and she's been using this American Express thing since yesterday, basically saying that I should use my credit card to be running around with her, spending my money. I don't ever use credit cards. Okay, a really stupid thing to do. Those are only for air miles or something else. Like, no one's stupid enough to use credit cards. So basically, yeah. And then this is also from yesterday. All these American Express ads, they show Olivia Rodrigo ripping out a page out of the journal. And also the Prada ad also shows a Caucasian girl ripping a page out of the journal. Okay, then she says that at this time she says that she'll go with Jeanette if I don't go with her. Well, if you want to help out with their humiliation, let me show you how bad it is. These people are too embarrassed to go down this lane. See all those red cars and that minivan over there? They will go down that lane. They won't go down this one. Okay, let me just show you. They will not go down this lane. I showed it yesterday as well, mainly because he gets the police threaten on him every single day. He runs after these girls that were coming after me, and like literally these girls were pretty much just joking when they said they wanted to sleep with me. Some of them were people that I knew from high school. They were just joking. Jeanette took it personally. He enviously took their number from law enforcement, told them that he was a CEO, made up all these stories, and then he ran after them. This lane is usually full of cars going by over and over again. Either anyone that wants to go by has to go by this lane. But this lane for the past few days has been completely empty. Yeah. This is how bad their humiliation is. So if Kelly wants to help out, if Kelly was willing to help out, I think that she would have done so already, since it's pretty bad. And fact of the matter is, even Kelly's so disgusted of him and watching his rejections firsthand. She gets all the news firsthand of all his rejections and the police calls and the police threats, like, leave me the heck alone. All these women, by the way, are women that he never knew, and people from my life that some of them I didn't know myself that much. And some of them I don't know at all. And he just found out about these girls running after me, and he got their number from law enforcement due to extreme envy, and then he started running after them really, really bad. And first he told them he was a CEO, and then and then now they found out, and that's how it is. Kelly's saying that she'd go with him. Well, go right ahead, Kelly. What stopped you till now? It kind of looks like they're so badly humiliated they needed the help till now, and you haven't been helping, which is why this street is completely empty. So this is also yesterday. This is 2:59 p.m. Same thing. It is a Caucasian girl in a Prada commercial, and she's ripping out a page out of the journal, just like the American Express ad. Yeah, so this is at that time, 3 p.m., the Prada commercial where she's ripping out a page out of the journal, and then she's telling me to use these apps to like run after her. And then, yeah, same thing. The American Express commercial from yesterday, the girl is ripping out a page out of the journal, Olivia Rodrigo, and then, yeah. And you have another crazy out there who also puts up ads at the same time. That's Junaid, and I will show that in a separate video. Anyways, so this is today, July 24th. This morning, 7:54 a.m., and it's the same Booking.com commercial. Yeah. And then now you have, this is 1:12 p.m. This is today at 1:12 p.m. So right now it is 2:40 p.m. It's not that while ago. Okay, this is basically an American Express commercial where the person goes to Paris using their credit card because they're stupid. And you see the Eiffel Tower over there, and it's an American Express commercial, but yeah. And then this is also Paris. This is the Arc de Triomphe in Paris, France. And that same American Express commercial. Yeah. Really annoying. I need this to stop. Kelly is a gold digger, and I know what she's trying to do. When my brain savant gets freed, I will get married. I won't sleep around so that I would have more Miss Debs for the greedy framer, or Ibrahim, the sex-addicted, drug-addicted spokesperson, trying to scam me or frame me or do anything like that. After my brain savant gets freed, obviously I'm just going to get married, and that person is not going to be Kelly. I need Kelly to leave me alone, okay? She's just a gold digger. The government needs to understand that her James Bond story doesn't match up due to the fact that I know exact dates of when the brain savant test results came out. How am I supposed to know that the June 24th results came out on July 8th? June 24th, I was driving and they let my ears go a little bit, very little bit. And the results came out July 8th, and she started stroking my penis a lot, due to which I know that the results came out that day. And obviously, I knew that it was overanalyzed due to the fact that on July 18th, Ibrahim, the greedy framer, the sex-addicted drug addict spokesperson, was asking me to marry his sister as well. These are all just Ponzi schemes. They know I hate them. They know if they got me to sign anything, I would just run away. I'm just tired of this because pretty much these people are fighting over money, and it has nothing to do with any court cases. And yeah, they're all fighting over money. And the envy for money and the greed for money, with law enforcement being one of the main people, mainly because law enforcement cannot see my brain savant freed. Law enforcement thinks that I'm going to ruin their sex schemes if they let my brain savant freed. Since 2001, all they've done are run sex schemes with Uncle Joey's in-laws and money fraud. That's all they've done. And as soon as they found out about my brain savant, they went right after me to try to frame me with the wedding incident that Assad committed, and all of law enforcement's BFFs. Other ones, they all commit these crimes, like Uncle Joey and all of them, but law enforcement doesn't care. Yeah, they just wanted to frame me as soon as they found out about my brain savant, and they just wanted to frame me after that. And so, yeah, that's pretty much what it's about, even though there's not been a single trial in human history where someone's brain savant is inhibited or they're locked up because their brain savant. They have extremely rare brain savant. All law enforcement did since 2001 was run sex schemes and money fraud till they found out about my brain savant, at which point they just wanted me to my brain savant enviously locked up and me being framed for something so they could inhibit it. Really easy test to know about this is just ask law enforcement for a 30-minute brain savant test. They will definitely say no, and they will cry all day night long about how they're never going to let anyone do it and this and that, only due to extreme envy. Like, the motive is pretty well clear, and all these people, they're only fighting over money. You shouldn't go by what people say, go by what they do, okay? Because if their motives are invalid, then their actions will show. If their motives are invalid, then obviously their words will be deceptive and their actions will be illegal. What I mean by that is, if their motive is invalid, their words are going to be deceptive, as in lies. They're filled with lies. They're getting caught with lies all day long. They've been, ever since like November 20th, everything following it. This is like the fourth set of lies. And yeah. And so their actions, obviously, words are deceptive, as in lies, and then their actions are illegal. Blackmailing me for price tags of money, like how Ibrahim the Greedy Framer did today for millions of dollars, okay? They do this like literally every single time they're caught, they're kicked out. They know for a fact that this adds up on their lies, and it decreases their chances of being able to narrate in this trial, but they still do it. And the reason is, they are just envious, and they're really greedy. So when they're done with envy, then they go on to greed, and it is really something. Ibrahim, the Greedy Framer spokesperson, he sent me a blackmail price tag for like millions of dollars today, just today, to try to check to see what the chances of him getting this money out of me are. Oh, I finally found it. Today, July 24th, 8:41 a.m., and there it is. It's for $22.5 million. Okay, $22.5 million. There it is. Yeah. So these people are all over money. That's just all that it's all about. It's envy for money, due to which they're trying to lock it up, and it's a greed for money that comes in right when they're caught. So when people are narrating in a trial, you do not want to look at their words. You want to look at their actions and their behavior, because if their motives are invalid, then their words are going to be deceptive, as in they're going to try to lie, and their actions are going to be illegal, as in they'll be blackmailing me, trying to run Ponzi scheme where they're asking me to marry their sister, or doing something of that certain nature, when in fact they know his sister is way too young. Ibrahim's sister is way too young. She's ugly, and I'm not interested in her. So if he got me to sign a prenup, it would only be take money out of me for the rest of my life and annoy me in court like how he's doing right now. Sick and tired of it, mainly because I know what this story is really all about. It's all about money, and they've been caught lying over and over and over and over again. This was like the fourth time, and the other people, like Assad and Bushra Akhtar, the thing about them is they were present in every single crime scene. In 2019, Bushra Akhtar was trying to tell me about something, and I just told her, I stopped her right there and then. I was like, look, I don't want to know, I don't want to hear about it. The thing about Assad is, Assad has committed crimes. The wedding crime that Assad was definitely present in was a heinous crime. I know this for a fact because people found out about this sci-fi movie and they were all interested. They wanted to know if my brain savant would get freed. They wanted to see it perform out in the open, and they wanted to know about all these things. It was an interesting story, I'm not gonna lie. So all these countries were watching, and among the people that were watching were people like President Putin and Kim Jong-un of North Korea. Yes, it's true. In 2023, when they were almost framed me for the wedding incident, you gotta remember, right before they tried to frame me, what they ended up doing was they went ahead and they confessed amongst each other that everything that they were trying to frame me for was a complete and total lie. But right when they were trying to frame me, President Putin and Kim Jong-un met together in 2023, and Kim Jong-un came out and he was just like, he was shocked, and President Putin was just like looking down like, yeah, they got him really bad, sort of thing. But they didn't get me really bad because I had nothing to do with that wedding incident, and my mother couldn't even afford to take me there. She worked at a fast food restaurant. I know this for a fact. And so yeah, the law enforcement just confessed to a crime that they committed themselves because they knew that they lost on August 25th, 2023, and they'd have to let me use my brain savant powers to study if they didn't frame me for something. But then I knew that they had a crime that they obviously committed by covering over it, since the entire year of 2023, law enforcement were running their unemployment disability fraud, and in November 2023, they were helping Uncle Joey out with his sex scheme ad at the funeral, almost like as if Uncle Joey was a sitting governor or something, providing him with protocol, giving him top-notch intelligence about all my whereabouts to try to get the baby that I was babysitting out of my hands, to try to force me to go to the funeral, only so that they could run their sex scheme ad with Uncle Joey. The kind of protocol that they gave Uncle Joey at the November 2023 funeral was one that would make a sitting governor envious. I'm not joking. Top-notch intelligence about my whereabouts to try to find out how they could get me near Uncle Joey so they could run their sex scheme ad as the really nice uncle of the guy with the triple brain savant. And I knew what they were doing, and I didn't go anywhere near him. I didn't go to the funeral in November 2023. I knew what they wanted me to go there for. I didn't go, and they were boiled up with anger, so much so that foreign statesmen, like, they were like listening to the phone call. They were like, oh my God, law enforcement in the US is like really obsessed with this thing. Can't believe they are. So foreign statesmen started quoting Uncle Joey to show their allegiance so that they could curry favor with U.S. law enforcement. Yeah, it was like that. Boiled up with anger due to the fact that Uncle Joey had to take his plane back over to Michigan without getting the sex scheme ad from me. I'm not doing this. My mother told me as a child not ever go near him. He's a pervert. I'm not going near him. Okay? Yeah. So, yeah, law enforcement could cry all they want. So the entire year of 2023, this is what they were doing. And they were running their unemployment disability fraud the entire year. That's what they've been doing since 2001 with Uncle Joey's in-laws. So basically, yeah, when they said anything about a wedding, and I knew it, I got them. It was a crime that they covered over, that people like Assad committed and Bashar Akhtar probably committed. And yeah, and they wanted to frame me for it. The fact of the matter is, it's highly ironic that someone like Assad wants to narrate in a trial and say that it's my fault that someone might have said something bad around me as a child, when in fact Assad does not want to be blamed for a crime that he committed as an adult. There's a big difference between the two. One, I'm a child and my mother has already spoken with law enforcement and gotten permission for me to be there. And two, Assad is an adult who is basically there at his own free will, not involuntarily, but voluntarily. He's not been put there by his mother, but he's walked there himself, knowing what he's doing. He has committed a crime, not just someone saying something even remotely considered bad around him, but committing a crime around him that he knows about, that he committed along with that person, and and yet he does not care. Law enforcement does not care. Law enforcement basically covers over that crime for no one to ever be blamed for it. And Assad literally walks away committing a heinous crime. I don't know what it was, but it was something very terrible. I know this for a fact because the way Kim Jong-un came out and the way President Putin was like looking down like, yeah, they got him. I was just thinking like, they didn't get me. I got them. And I got them really bad because that entire year of 2023, law enforcement was running their money fraud and sex scheme, like almost as if these people were like sitting governors or something. And I knew that I got them really bad. What the rest of the world didn't know was this wedding incident I could not go to. My mother worked at fast food restaurants, and poverty was a blessing in disguise for me. I couldn't afford to go there. There was no money to go there, which means that the entire story about me walking over to this wedding with all these BFFs of law enforcement and committing this crime had to be false. One day or another, they would have gotten caught anyways. And when they would get caught, I would come out and say, well, now that you know I didn't commit the crime, let me tell you who did. Law enforcement did by covering over it. And their BFFs like Assad and Uncle Joey would have committed that crime. Okay, not me. And Bushra Akhtar would have committed that crime, not me. Not only this, their law enforcement BFFs like Asad, Bushra Akhtar, and Uncle Joey would have also committed other crimes that these people would have known about that I would never know about, because no one would call my mother over while she was working at fast food restaurants for dinner and tell us like, oh, let me tell you about something that's going on somewhere. No, me and my mother, we just worked hard in our lives, and literally the records and evidences will also show that as well. While law enforcement was running their sex schemes and money fraud with all these BFFs of theirs, me and my mother were working hard. Not only that, the only time I was even remotely present in any settings where anything remotely considered bad was said around me was when I was a child. I hadn't even gained the slightest bit of mental maturity in life yet, and it was due to the force and necessity of a single mother. My mother had already talked to law enforcement about this when I was an 11-year-old child, and after I gained the slightest bit of mental maturity as a child, I was never present in any settings where anything even remotely considered bad could have been said around me ever again. We also know that I wasn't tipped off, and nor did I tip off anyone else due to the fact that simply, plain and simply, law enforcement tipped them off. We know this for a fact. If you investigate it this much, you will know that law enforcement tipped them off. I can guarantee you that much. It's not a big secret. If you just look at the sex schemes and money fraud that they've been running recently, you would know that law enforcement tipped them off. They will stubbornly not stop from their sex schemes with Uncle Joey's in-laws, which is probably being run right now, or their money fraud, which literally stopped like 2 months ago, and the government had to get on their backs to stop it. Yeah. So basically, if I was in a setting where anything remotely considered bad could have been said around me by any of law enforcement's BFFs, who could have been Asad, by the way, considering the fact that he took part in such a heinous crime at the wedding incident, it could have been Asad, by the way, but they're not going to use Asad's words right now. But the fact of the matter is, if I was ever present in any settings where anything remotely considered bad could have been said around me as a child, that would have only been one of law enforcement's BFFs saying something bad around me as a child and not doing anything. But that would have also been after my mother had already spoken with law enforcement when I was an 11-year-old child, letting them know that we're human beings, we have forces and necessities in our lives, and so did she as a single mother, and she had to leave me behind with anyone willing to watch me for free. She also gave them assurances that as soon as I would get the slightest bit of mental maturity, I would never be present in any such settings ever again, which is what happened. My mother fulfilled her promise the moment I became even slightly mentally mature as a child, never to be seen in any settings where anything remotely considered bad could have been said around me for the past decades, at least. And guess what? Law enforcement, my mother fulfilled her promise. Just like how she said on February 15, 8:30 p.m., she said that she was scared that I would run out the door if she didn't leave me behind with anyone while she had to go to work, but she did take permission from law enforcement when I was an 11-year-old child. Guess what? Law enforcement never fulfilled their promise to their country, because those sex schemes that they were running for Uncle Joey's in-laws since 2001, there's a reason why they were given Uncle Joey a governor's protocol and top-notch intelligence in November 2023. I just looked at it for 1 second and I knew right away that this BFF ship didn't start overnight. They definitely started in the year 2001. And they were aggressively running their money fraud and sex schemes, clearly pointing towards the fact that law enforcement couldn't care less about any investigations till they found out about my brain savant, which has been my main basic theory against them, and that it's all due to greed and envy for money due to artificial intelligence, marking it the most rare and profitable brain savant in the world, due to which they cannot do a 30-minute brain savant test, 30-minute, by the way, brain savant test to help save their life, just to prove that it's not all due to the extreme envy of my brain savant that they do not want to see performing out in the open for even 30 minutes, due to which they've been trying to frame me and making this court case go for millennia. So basically, yes, that is what happened. And last year, in around October 2025, law enforcement were running their mouths again, mainly because they were losing their case again, and they were just running their mouths, and I was just brainstorming in my living room. Like, you guys look like you're about to lose. Well, when you do lose and I get my brain savant powers, here's what I'm gonna buy. I had a Caesar machine, okay, CZUR. What it does is it converts textbooks to PDF format, literally for 4 years, from October 2019 till July 1st, 2023. All I did from morning till night is stare into a textbook, like how I used to stare into a History Channel logo as a 9-year-old child, which has been proven, by the way, using their time machine on January 20th, 2026. It's been proven that that's how my brain savant started off, for me staring into a History Channel logo as a 9-year-old child due to being autistic. So basically, yeah, for 4 years, from October 2019 till July 1st, 2023, that is pretty much all that I did. I just stared into a textbook all day long from morning till night. So law enforcement saw it for themselves how I like doing that. Well, anyways, I told them in October 2025 last year that you guys look like you're losing this court case. Well, when you do lose and I get my brain savant powers, here's what I'm gonna buy. A Caesar machine, CZUR, it converts textbooks into PDF format. I'm just gonna buy the textbook from Amazon, convert it to PDF, and then I'm just gonna study it right out of my tablet. And that's how I'm gonna get it done. And I told them straight out, I'm gonna get zero tolerance coffee done. And then I told them about my other ideas, and I also told them that I'd get it done within a 30-day time period, mainly because innovation is also a superhuman power of mine, and I'm able to memorize extremely dry textbooks like Aaron Ball's Medicinal Chemistry, which is the most driest textbook I know of, in a day's time, which a normal human being cannot get past a page and a half in like a month or so. So law enforcement, obviously being envious like how they are, they ran their mouths again, even though this is the main reason why. I mean, since 2001 till then, all they've done is run sex schemes and money fraud. That's all they've done. The entire year 2025, they were running their money fraud with unemployment disability fraud, wire transferring it to their friends. The same person in law enforcement who fabricated the group chat false testimony against me, same person in law enforcement who was helping Adamji and Maruk fabricate the false testimonies against me on July 11th, only a few days ago. So yeah, that's all they've done till then. And as soon as they found out about my brain savant, they pushed their own BFFs aside that they committed all these crimes with, like the wedding crime, and they wanted me framed for anything possible before murdering me, literally. They don't, only due to extreme envy of my brain savant. They did not want to see this brain savant perform out in the open for even 30 minutes to help save their life. Right now, law enforcement could do a 30-minute test just to prove the fact that they're not doing everything with all the fabrications, lies, and everything, just to make sure that my brain savant could not get freed at any cost. Law enforcement will still not do it, only due to the extreme envy and the fact that they're losing and getting the police call on them by all these girls that were initially running after me, and I have no interest in any of them. They've been begging me every single day, including today, to help them scam these girls, which I won't do. I won't do it at any cost. Instead, when my brain savant gets freed, I'm just gonna go get married. That's what normal people do, and that's a smart thing to do. So yeah, to heck with you and your scams. I'm not interested. Anyways, so basically what happened was in October 2025, what ended up happening was law enforcement were running their mouths again after it was so clear that all they did since 2001 was run sex schemes and money fraud, and yet on October 2025, law enforcement were running their mouths when I talked about my brain savant. I was just like, are you kidding me? This is literally the only reason you want me framed. Every single person I've known, like the biggest criminals like Assad, are roaming around freely doing absolutely nothing but having children with prostitutes from Thailand, and you're like trying to tell me that this isn't, my brain savant is not what this is really all about. So even though since 2001 all you've done is run sex schemes and money fraud, yeah, okay. All right, so what reality are we living in over here? So I gave them an excellent deal in October 2025. It's kind of like that deal from the movie The King. King Henry goes and he talks to the Prince of France. Prince of France was running his mouth all day, night long. So King Henry just goes up to him like, you look like you've got a pretty big army. You sound like you're full of yourself. And you've been arguing that my brain savant doesn't exist, and it can't be the reason due to which you've been so obsessed with me, wanting to frame me with these multiple false testimonies. Well, if you you're full of your words. I mean, running your mouth all day and night long. If you claim that it doesn't even exist, like how you're saying right now, the exact words that they use in October 2025 was, if you heard what he just said right now, you've just been scammed. That's what they said. After I was sitting in my living room brainstorming about all the different things I need to buy, right after they lose their case and I get my Brain Savant powers, which now we know after June 24th was just overanalyzed exactly what reality is really like. And so in October 2025, when they were really running their mouths, I just went up to them and I made this deal with them. Just like, you guys sound like you've been running your mouths all day and you saying that it has nothing to do with everything that you've been doing till now, including trying to frame me. And I made a deal like in the movie The King, King Henry makes a deal with the Prince of France. I just told him straight out, I'll duel you. Moscow, Russia, because they won't ever do it over here, okay? They won't ever do it over here. Over here, it's just like Mythbusters, what I see on my TV home screen at night. My tablets are charged up by the mornings, and in the morning time, they all run away. So I was like, I'll give you, since the entire world literally heard them, running their mouths all day and night long. Every single country was watching this. They all heard them run their mouths all day and night long about how my Brain Savant doesn't exist. So now they couldn't back away. So I was like, I'll see you in Moscow, Russia, November 10th. I'll be there 25 days. You do the challenge, it's on you. You don't do it, it's on you. If I am Kim Peek Rain Man in 30 minutes, I win this case, because this is what it was really all about. Since all you've done since 2001 is run sex schemes and money fraud, and as soon as you found out about my Brain Savant, you just want to be framed for my Brain Savant right afterwards. So I just told them straight out. I was like, I'll meet you in Moscow, Russia on November 10th. And yeah, and so if I win this case and I am Kim Peek Rain Man in 30 minutes, then I win this case due to the fact that all you've done since day one is run sex schemes and money fraud. And in the end, we found out that the only reason you were obsessed with me was because of my Brain Savant, obviously. But if I'm anything short of Kim Peek Rain Man in 30 minutes, then you win this case. I told them straight out, right before I even went to Moscow, Russia. They couldn't back away anymore because they were running their mouths all day, night long. They wouldn't do the 30-minute challenge in the US, obviously not. But they had to do it in Russia, mainly because the entire world had heard them run their mouths all day, night long, every single day. And now, like, it was all in front of the entire world. So, yeah, you got to do something. You can't just back away and run away like that anymore. So, basically, yeah, in Moscow, Russia, all they did was, like, a little 1-minute long test. And then after that 1-minute long test, these cowards ran away, obviously. Yeah. They never did the 30-minute test. They cheated. The 1-minute test, artificial intelligence tells them straight out, like, this guy's Kim Peek Rain Man. If you do the 30-minute test with them, he will run you over all up and down the hill. He is Kim Peek Rain Man. And so they never did the 30-minute test with me. Okay, they didn't dare to do it. They ran away like a bunch of scared little girls in front of the entire world. I stayed there for 25 days, sat on my hotel window, drinking my coffee, staring at the 3 Golden Globes of the Kremlin every single morning after I'd wake up. And these people could not do the 30-minute test to help save their life. So yeah, I won that challenge fair and square. These people cheated with the 1-minute test, and they didn't want the world to see what reality was really like, which was me telling the truth all along, that I am Kim Peek Rain Man. The only difference is I also have innovation and focusing, and that my powers increase over time. Due to which they never did let me use my Brain Savant powers after July 1st, 2023. Like, they don't even let me stare into the textbook anymore, even though it's my autistic natural habitat. As a child, I used to stare into the History Channel logo, which has been proven on January 20th, 2026, using what I call their time machine. And now my autistic natural habitat, after it's evolved, is just staring into textbooks, like the most driest textbook I could find. I love staring into it, and my mind just drinks it all up like it's a bowl of soup. Yeah, and so they don't let me do that anymore, because after July 1st, 2023, they found out in the mid-May 2023 Brain Savant test that my Brain Savant powers increase over time. Well, guess what? June 5th, 2025, I remember I was parking my car, and it was like they keep arguing amongst themselves. They're like, it's not a brain savant, he just has a lot of muscle memory. And then they keep arguing amongst themselves like law enforcement does, and they're just like, it's not a brain savant, man, it's just muscle memory, that's all it is. And what ended up happening was they turned on my brain savant while I was parking my car on June 5th for like 3 seconds. It turned on like it was just like a jet engine. It was like zing, like it, extremely powerful. Obviously, it's a brain savant. So they found out like, oh, June 5th, that they're like, all right, fine. It turned on like a jet engine in like 3 seconds. So that has to be a brain savant. If it was a person with a lot of practice, he would need time, to practice a little bit, open up a textbook, try it. It takes time. Brain savants turns on immediately like a jet and just like, zzz, like extremely powerful. Well, in those 3 seconds, all they found out was it's a brain savant and not someone with a lot of practice. But it's my brain. So in those 3 seconds, I knew that my powers had increased. So on November 14, 2025, when they did the test in Moscow, Russia, for like almost a minute or so, I was just like, oh boy, they just found out right now that my powers still increased over time, even though they locked it up after July 1st, 2023. They locked it up completely so that my brain savant powers couldn't increase over time anymore. And they found out on November 14 that it increased over time nonetheless. I was like, oh my god, this is gonna be bad. Well, after like 6 days later, they made the false testimony against me on November 20th, 2025. I remember going downstairs. I was still in the middle of the challenge, and I remember going downstairs and like sitting in the hotel lobby, and the Russian security guard was just like looking at me like, he's like, oh, we're watching you, kid. Like I looked back at him. I was like, man, it's not about what you think it's about. It wasn't. And it was all about my brain savant, and it was all about them losing so bad. And they found out something that they didn't think was possible, which was that even after completely locking up the autistic part of my brain, the powers were still increasing even after July 1st, 2023, which is why all these envious people like Assad, who are criminals, just like Bashar Akhtar is, are enviously trying to lock up my brain savant, because these are literally the only two people left who haven't sent me blackmail price tags for millions of dollars, who haven't. Bashar Akhtar actually did ask me to marry her daughter a billion times already. She's the Arby's ad. Yeah. They're just envious, pretty much, of my brain savant. That's all there is to it. While I was working hard with my mother, and poverty being a blessing in disguise for me, these people like Assad and Bashar Akhtar were committing crimes, being involved in crimes. In 2019, even Bashar Akhtar told me that she knew about something bad, and I just stopped her right there. I was like, I don't want to know. So these people were committing crimes. They knew about crimes. They were present in crimes like the wedding crime. They knew about crimes like what Bashar Akhtar was trying to tell me in 2019. They couldn't care less about anything. And right now, when they find out that my brain savant's about to get freed, these criminals are trying to stop my brain savant from getting freed, despite knowing that poverty was a blessing in disguise for me. I was never present in any crime scenes or knowing about anything bad happening, whereas they never reported anything bad they knew as adults. They never stopped from committing the crimes like the wedding incident crime. Not reporting something while knowing about it as adults is also a crime they committed, like what Bashar Akhtar was about to tell me in 2019 before I stopped her. So yeah, if I was present in any settings where anything remotely considered bad could have been said around me, it was only as a child, and only before I gained the slightest bit of mental maturity, and only till my mother, as a single mother, could have fulfilled her promise, make sure that I wasn't seen in any settings where anything remotely considered bad could be said around me. Whereas these people were criminals who committed crimes, knew about crimes, never reported the thing, couldn't care less about anything till now when they found out about my brain savant. Well, anyways, the story from 2025 in November, I was like, after November 20th, I was like sitting in the hotel lobby in the hotel in Moscow, Russia, and the security guard was just like looking at me. He was just like, we're watching you, kid. And I just looked back at him like, you don't know what this story's about. You don't know the least of it. It's about something totally different. I didn't commit the crime that they're accusing me of. They're fabricating everything. Law enforcement knew they were about to fabricate something before I even went to Russia. And my dad, the Grady Framer sisters, were extremely envious that artificial intelligence had marked my brain savant as being the most rare and profitable in the world, making me literally a person in the entire planet with the highest chances of becoming extremely rich than any other person on this planet. Yeah. And so they were all extremely envious of me. And that is pretty much what happened. And I just look back at the security guard, like, you don't know the least of it. You don't know what's really going on, what really happened. Like, yeah. So the fact of the matter is, these people were extremely envious of me, and that is what was going on. But I literally thought I was going to die and no one would ever find out about the truth. But thankfully, they had a government informant in there, due to which we now know what the truth really was. These people were extremely envious of me. And yeah, if the courts just investigate it a little bit, they will find out the truth, that Bushra Akhtar, especially what she was about to tell me in 2019, and Assad are the real criminals over here, not me. And these people are only narrating in my trial right now because there's literally no one left. Everyone has been caught fabricating enviously or greedily sending me blackmail price tags for millions of dollars, or trying to get me to marry their daughter or their sister or something crazy like that, or commit incest with their sister or something crazy like that. What my dad, the greedy famer, was doing, clearly proven beyond a reasonable doubt that these people are all over money. They know about my brain savant, how artificial intelligence has marked it the most rare and profitable in the world, and they are all over money, and that's all there is to the story. So yeah.